It's Sunday, May 12, 2019. I'm Justin Castelli. This is All About Your Benjamins weekly mixtape and week in review video. Just a quick reminder, these are going to be coming to you on Sundays if you're watching on YouTube or on the blog for the rest of spring and probably most of summer due to soccer schedules. If you're listening to this on your Amazon device, this will still come on Sunday just like usual. So let's get to this week's news that may or may not be impacting your financial plan and portfolios. And the news for this week was all about China. Mainly China. I have one other topic, so it'll be a quick one this week. But last week after I posted my video, some news came out on Twitter that President Trump was thinking or threatening to raise the tariffs on China up to 25%. If you saw the video that I did earlier this week, I talked about how the futures Sunday night were down a lot, indicating that the market was going to be down on Monday. It opened down, but then recovered kind of flat. But then Tuesday through Thursday, the markets were a little shaky. And I thought this was a good point to bring back up, that volatility is a very normal thing in the market, which we saw this week. We saw a big down day and have it recover. We saw some down days recover and go back down. The movements in the market were a little bit more shaky, and that's normal. The last couple months, as the markets went back up to their highs, volatility really wasn't there, at least volatility to the downside. But when volatility comes back and things are going down, it's a little uncomfortable. And this is just a good reminder, this is part of investing. Probably should not be making rash decisions because of this. And with everything being about China, just as quickly as it caused the markets to go down, if we get some good news, it could cause the markets to go up, which is what we saw happen on Friday. So as I mentioned, Tuesday through Thursday, markets were kind of shaky, a little pessimism in the air when it comes to Wall Street, to the markets. Friday, we get a little bit of news that maybe the talks are going forward and getting progressively to the positive side, so the markets recovered. Who knows what's going to happen? A lot of this is living and playing itself out on Twitter, which means the markets can react pretty quickly. But that is the big thing from this week. There really wasn't a lot of economic news, so there's nothing to report there. No Fed news, no unemployment news really to talk about. So it was really about China and the tariffs. We'll see what happens. Historically, over the last year and a half, this has been short-term blips. We have these conversations, the tariffs either are talked about, they are increased, they go into effect, and then things kind of get better in that negotiation. So this may just be more of the art of the deal being played out, and we're seeing the negotiations go down, played out over Twitter. But at the end of the day, that was the big news this week, bringing some fear back into the markets after the markets got back up to all-time highs, which we discussed last week. The other thing I want to talk about this week in our week in review is we've talked about IPOs a lot lately, and mainly from an educational standpoint of the risks behind them, especially as they're big names that we might recognize, and maybe they're companies that we know and love, and we feel like we want to get in on that first day to capitalize on the business that we're providing them and our love for them. But as I talked about in the past, not always, but as of late, some of those big name companies like Lyft and like Snap haven't had very good IPOs. And we had Uber this week that kind of followed suit. It wasn't a horrible IPO date, but it wasn't also a very good date. We had Beyond Meat, which was the vegan meat last week, that had a tremendous first day, and to be honest, I haven't really followed what happened afterwards. But Uber was another big one, another unicorn out there, and its IPO was, I would say, lackluster. So the whole lesson behind this, and the reason I talk about this, is we have our long-term plans, we have our diversified portfolios. It can be exciting to try to get in on these companies that we know on IPO day, but if we look at what's happening recently, it's not necessarily the best thing. So no recommendations, just like normal. It's not meant to be advice. This is just meant to be a conversation piece that if you have the desire to get into these IPOs the day of the IPO, think twice about it, look at what history has been, and then realize what does it really mean to your overall portfolio, and is the risk worth it? So who knows what's in store for the company and the stock going forward. We'll have to wait and see. But just another IPO, and since we've been talking about that, and I really want to bring the education to that area because it's a place that a lot of times people have bad experiences and it scares them from investing in other areas that might be a better fit for their portfolio. So IPOs, always beware. Doesn't mean they won't work out, but also need to be careful. And that's really it for this week. So I told you it was going to be a quick one. Thank you everybody for watching. Again, if you're listening to this on YouTube or watching this on YouTube or listening on your Amazon skill, head on over to allaboutyourbenjamins.com to check out the Mixtape articles below. We have some great posts this week from other people around the financial blogosphere. And be sure to subscribe while you're there. And where all can you subscribe, you might ask? That's a great question. You can subscribe at allaboutyourbenjamins.com. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can subscribe to All About Your Benjamins, the podcast, on iTunes and your other podcast places. You can also subscribe to the RLS Wealth Management Amazon skill. So all of these places for now, but as more technology allows me to communicate with you in other places, I'll be adding those to the mix as well. But be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on anything. So that's it for this week. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.